Hello, this is Matthew Robert Payne. I've got my trusty coffee here. This is Conversations with God, number 9, I think. Currently doing a video series with John Lennon. I think I'm up to question 8 or something like that out of 18. I received some not so good feedback today by someone, and it really disturbed me and put me in a bad place. So this is just a conversation to go over some things with God. My whole life has been topsy-turvy, and I've been going through some hard things, and so I just trust that God can speak to me. So question 1 is, I had a person not give me very good feedback on the John Lennon interview. What do you say? Matthew, there's some truth in what everybody says, but you can imagine that that the enemy will use any sort of person to give you feedback, to dig wounds in you. The person said it's quite repetitive in places, and a couple of things. She said that the church wouldn't receive it, but in conversation with another person that you really admire, that put some funds towards the book, he was able to say that it is repetitive in places, but it's the truth, and the fact that the church wouldn't really receive the rebuke that John gives doesn't really matter, because it's not really aimed or sent to the church. It's a message for the people who love John Lennon. It's a message from John Lennon from heaven to other people who might not be going to heaven. As Orty, your friend, prophesied, that we're going to lead you off into evangelistic work, and we're going to switch the paces up. Orty said that. You really trust Orty, your friend, and this is a major evangelistic work. So you're not there to impress the church, and even if you spend hours in the book talking about the shortfalls of the church, this will build credibility with the other people who don't attend church, who are sick of church, who are upset with church, who've been hurt by the church, who've been hurt by Christians. So it's a good thing. Now, your editor, Lisa, if you have Lisa go through the book, she's going to take out all the repetitive things. She's going to go to town and cut whole slabs of the prophecy of the interview completely out of the book, and so you won't have the repetitive parts in the book. The only way people will come across the repetitive parts is if they watch the video. So everything can be fixed up, and everything can be made to be proper, and people will be surprised the difference between the video and the actual book. So I hope that answered your question. Question 2, I've been messed around by my bipolar, and I'm having a hard time, Lord. So bipolar is very much a part of your life. You have your highs, your times of mania, and you have your lows. Currently, you're in one of the low swings, and you found it really easy to do the John Lennon interviews and long interviews with when you're in the mania state, and that helps you. It's harder for you to be inspired in the lower states, and that's understandable. Bipolar is part of your life. at the moment. It's not healed, and you have to just ride with it and cope with it. You do a tremendous job. You have been acting in some mania for weeks, and the enemy's been trying to take you down and spend all your money and destroy you, and you're aware of that. We just had you listen to a book on Audible about a girl with mania and bipolar, and you found yourself filling up with tears as you listened to her life, because it's so much like your life. And so we'll have you cope. You're downloading a book at present that's 32 hours on the life of John Lennon, from a very experienced biographer who did a biography on the Beatles. That's a good thing, and you've been trying for a couple of hours to get to sleep. You haven't been able to get to sleep, so hopefully you'll be able to listen to that, some of that tonight, and keep you entertained. We love you. All of heaven loves you, and this is a controversial book that you're working on. It's going to have a big impact. You've decided to do $1,000 lots of the book. You're getting your first $1,000 together by next week to be able to pay your editor, and you're going to do edits in $1,000 chunks, and that'll be good. So there's no rush. You got a typist who's typing it for free. There's no rush for you to do the next part. There's time for you to be able to dig down and do some research, like you look as though you're going to do listening to this 32-hour book on John Lennon. Question number 3, I feel I want to listen to the 32 hours on John Lennon's, the book called The Life. Is that wise? We want to encourage you to invest that amount of time into listening about John's life. It'd be very interesting for you to understand about his life. You didn't know anything about his life, and you're halfway through the interview now with him. So it's a good thing that you find some research about him. You're up to question 9. So you're halfway through your interview with John, and it'll be good for you to have a break and listen to this interview, listen to this book with all these details about John, to get some further insight into his life, and he'll be able to speak on those issues if you know about those things when you're doing the further part of the interview. So hold off. There's no rush to get this interview done, and don't let people pressure you. Let people catch up and listen to what has been recorded so far. And you're very much loved in heaven. John really adores you. There wasn't much mania in what you said. Really upset you that someone said he was repeating a lot. That's you have no memory of saying the same thing over and over again, and so don't let it worry you, and don't let it get to you. Question 4, I feel it's best to take a break and regather myself. Is that best? Yes, that's what we're leading you into. Take your time to listen to this book, to put the hours in to listening to this audio book. Once your book is published, you'll have the funds eventually to get the audio book done, and you can just trust us to get it into the right hands to one day be published by a good publisher. I know you're having doubts about that, but it's been prophesied that you'll have a bestseller even too far in your church. Prophesied when you come back, you're going to come back and do a big book that's going to be heaps better. So just have some trust in us, trust in the process, take a break, spend some time tonight. I know it's painful staying up at night when you want to be in bed. This mental illness can drive you crazy at times. All of you just wants to go to bed and sleep, but you can't sleep. And we're with you. Heaven's with you. We're here to talk to you. Of course, as John Lennon's interview gets, his book gets played for you, you're going to learn more and more about him, come to know him really well. He's pleased that you're going to listen to it. So closing question, Deborah that's in my life, it seems that she's going to continue in my life, and I was led to stop funding her, put everything into the John Lennon book, and I think that's the right thing, Lord, and you say, God, Matthew, everything's fine. We have led you that way. You felt that you were misled giving her the money last week, but my Holy Spirit did lead you to do that, and we're happy that you did that. And you don't have to worry about being misled by a false Holy Spirit. Will always make all things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. So hold on tight, do your best. As money starts to flow again, from time to time, you'll be able to update your T-shirts. Don't stress too much about that. Concentrate on the John Lennon, and we'll look after you. Everything's going to work out all right. You seem to roll with the punches. You seem to be able to cope no matter what sort of attack comes against you. And there's a different sort of attack coming against you because you're working on something that's going to be change, bring a lot of change to the world. And because the enemy isn't interested in that, he wants to shut you completely down. So be aware of that. It's only because it's so powerful that you're copying so much attack. So bless you, Matthew, and hope that's a good update for some people. God bless.